How's it going, everyone? Happy Tuesday. It is Tuesday, December 9th. Going to be going through charts real soon. If there's any charts you'd like for me to go through, drop a comment and I'd be happy to go through them. Uh, First, just want to start off with Bitcoin. Obviously, Bitcoin started making a move today. Um, if you did catch it today, I did reply to my watch list for the day saying that Bitcoin was something to watch. There's just a lot of bullish headlines around Bitcoin right now that are pretty atypical for a bear market. So, those bullish headlines lead me to believe that Bitcoin is not in a bear market. Just some of the headlines that we've had pretty recently. Last week, Vanguard, they originally were pretty staunchly against offering Bitcoin to their client. Well, they flipped their stance and now they are allowing their clients to purchase crypto and Bitcoin, and they are the second largest asset manager in the world with over 11 trillion assets. That happened on December 4th. So right there, that local high. And then we also got Bank of America recommending that their clients uh, allocate 4% of their portfolio to Bitcoin. Master Strategy recently announced that they're buying $1 billion worth of Bitcoin, and I've been seeing multiple reports that hedge hedge funds have been purchasing Bitcoin the entire way down. And when I posted that update to my my watch list today, Bitcoin was still hanging out right in this wedge, and I saw that it was about to break out. We previously talked about on past live streams that we had a nice swing fill pattern of the low. We had a bullish divergence on the OBV, and we also got a bullish engulfing candle right here off of the swing fail pattern. And to me, that is very bullish. And when I pieced that all together with all the news that had been coming out with Bitcoin and the hedge funds, banks, to me it was breaking out no matter what. It was just a matter of when, and we saw it pop and it started running. So now we're just waiting for it to get above the 2024 close, which is around 93.5, and then it'll keep creeping up. Um, I think Bitcoin's still going higher. I've been calling for the bottom pretty much since this week right here, where it did bottom. And the OBV, we had a double bottom, so we had the bullish divergence, and then we hit a double bottom off the lows, and now we're breaking these local highs. So everything to me is just screaming that we are bullish on Bitcoin right now. For the Yeah, and we're breaking out on the OBV. So, uh, yeah, I think Bitcoin looks great right here. I think it's going to go higher, and it's just a matter of time. So, really, if I've always found that the best plays be where the TA, the technical analysis, marries well with the fundamentals, everything that's going on behind it. I found that those plays typically work out much better with a high degree of certainty. Um, so, when you're seeing things on the chart that look bullish, and then you're hearing all these bullish headlines, and then you see the breakout, those are pretty actionable items, in my opinion. And we had all of them on Bitcoin. So, Bitcoin to me was a no brainer. So, that's Bitcoin. Next, I wanted to touch on my long term portfolio. So let's just go over to SPY real quick. So SPY, I started this long term portfolio 5 weeks ago, so relatively new. Um, but you know, so since then, um, since I started on a Monday, so I started right at the market open of November 10th. It's been five, so one, two, yeah, start right here. So my long-term portfolio, the market is only up 0.86% since then, and if you've been following along, we are up 4% right now. So we are currently beating the market after 5 weeks. I do feel really good about the portfolio. We do have a few that are down quite a bit, but we have others that are up even more. I mean, we've got figs. We're up 24%. SPT, we're up 15%. LIDAR, we're up 11%. RVPH, we're up 35%. TRX, we're up 17%. UEC, we're up 15%. RGTI, we're up 14%. And then there's a few stinkers mixed in. ASST's down 25%, but it's a lower weight in our portfolio, so it's not dragging us down as much. But there's a couple others that are down a little bit, but overall, we're doing good. I do expect the stocks that are negative to turn around at some point. In three of the stocks that were in the negative on are picks from this week that I just issued on Monday. So, pretty typical for new picks. Don't really expect them to get any traction until 2 or 3 weeks down the road. But yeah, so far so good. If you've been following along, thank you very much. Next one will be coming out on Monday. So keep an eye open for it. So the next one I wanted to go through. So I think that, so I called out batteries the other day on live stream as a sector that I thought was starting to look really good. Um, and I think it's starting to look good again. So we've got started SES, so SESAI. Uh, it broke out, hit the 50 SMA, came down, and now we're about to have a crossover. We might even actually have that crossover already. Yeah, the crossover did happen of the 8 EMA and the 21 EMA, and we came down, tested it, and now we're getting a bounce. The OBV is looking good. I definitely feel a lot better about the OBV if it starts breaking out of these highs and it's right at it. But I think batteries as a whole sector are starting to look good. So we've got SES, we've got BLNK. BLNK doesn't look good, so not all are looking good. But SLDP, yeah, SLDP looks fine. It's just consolidating right below resistance. AMPX, I still think looks great. Retested a support area. OBV still looks fine. ABAT, which we've talked about before, it just looks like it's consolidating after its pump last Thursday. Then we've got, I think QS actually looks really good right now. It is breaking out of this downtrend right at the support area. OBV should begin to break out here soon. So OBV is on the verge of breaking out. I think if it gets a positive day tomorrow, it'll break out. So I think QS looks good. EOSE still looks fine. It's just riding this 50 SMA right now. So I think batteries as a whole looks good. And then we've got Plug. So Plug is a position I'm in. Been in it since it broke out right here. And now it's kind of just getting squeezed down in between the 100-day EMA and this is the 21-day EMA. So, we've kind of been bouncing around in between this range, just getting squeezed down in between it. We had a nice pop today, and it's still breaking out on the OBV. Even with the dip, we are in an uptrend here with the OBV, which I like. So, yeah, I think that there's just a lot to like about Blink right now. It's taking a little bit longer than I had hoped, but I still think there's no reason to panic. We're up slightly on our position, but yeah, I think Plug looks good. I think batteries in general look good as well, with the exception of Blink. I think Blink is still headed the wrong direction, but all right. So let's get on to the next ticker. So we're going to start talking about SPY. So today, SPY did lose the support level. I still am bullish despite the fact that it lost this level. I think today is just a chop day before the Fed. I think tomorrow is going to be more of the same. Um, I think we are getting the 25 BPS cut, which will be bullish for the markets. We might not see the market start going higher until next week potentially, but any dip I think is an opportunity to buy, and it is possible that we get a wick. Yeah, it is very possible that we get a wick down to this level that I have marked right here on the chart as my Fed retest level. And I think if we did that, we would start going higher. But I'm just expecting a spoofy day. We're retesting the highs, so as long as we stay above the highs on the OBV, there's really nothing to worry about. So yeah, we'll keep an eye on this, but I think tomorrow is just going to be a bunch of chop because of Fed. So other than that, I think SPY is still looking good. So we've got IWM, another good day out of IWM. Tried pushing for all-time highs. Did set an all-time high today, but I think just because we have the Fed meeting, it's not going to give us that full move. So we'll see what happens tomorrow. I think, worst case scenario, we get a wick down into this level. Definitely going to see this most likely, this 28, 248.75. Potentially see 245 if we get a bigger wick, but definitely going to be volatility tomorrow. But long term, not worried about it. Interest rates come down means stock market is going to go up in the long term. So some short term chop to get through, but everything will be fine in 6 months to a year. So next is the VIX. So now we're back above these levels. I guess what I would expect here, I mean, I can see a scenario where we wick up to here tomorrow, and then we just start coming back down, and then we just stay in this area for a little bit. So that's my expectations on VIX. There's nothing really to worry about right now until we get through the Fed meeting. But yeah, I think we are in a good spot. We're in a healthy spot. Even if we get a pullback, nothing really to worry about. So, all right, let's get into stocks on my scanner. So we've got MUX is first, McEwen Inc. So this one doesn't look half bad. Let's see. All right, so we got a gap to fill right here. Came all the way up to there, so that's the gap it needs to fill. So the top of the gap is at 22 bucks. We're at 1950 post market. We've got this right here. Change the color on this real quick. Yeah, I mean, I think it's got a nice support area right there. I would like for it. I mean, there isn't really a concrete resistance line here, so I don't really have a gauge on that. But I think for now, I would want to get in this if we get a retest of the support line. And then I'd be out if it breaks below and we get a close below. The OBV is definitely in an uptrend. It's holding that support nicely. And, it's just got to get through a few areas of resistance, and then I think it goes higher. So, McEwen, not much, nothing super actionable on it. It does look bullish, but nothing super actionable based on where the price is at now. Next on the list is RSI, Rush Street Interactive. So I have charted this one recently. We did get a breakout of this trend right here, and we've slowly grinded higher. Had a nice double bottom right here, and now we're trying to get above other levels on the OBV. For this one, again, I don't think there's anything super actionable based on where the price is at right now. I would need it to come down a lot more to want to get in, because this break right here is where you would have wanted to have gotten in. So for me, nothing really actual. The OBV it's decent. It's nothing special, nothing to get excited about either. Next on the list is PBR, Petróleo. It's a Brazilian oil company. I think we did their Class A shares yesterday on live stream, and now this is their ordinary shares. Again, let's see here. So that's going to be your support. You've got some long-term resistance right here. So, yeah, again, nothing really actionable on this one either right now. I think it's just got a lot to work through. I think if it came down to this support area, it would be a better place to look for a long. But once it starts breaking out, that's ideally when I'd like to get in. I'll add an alert on it so I can keep you guys updated. But for now, there's nothing for me. All right, so next we've got NOMD, Nomad Foods Limited. So I had previously marked some lows right there. It came down lower, tagged these lows. And now it's looking like it's trying to do something. Yeah, for me, I would want it to break out of this downtrend first. The fact that it got out of this one, that's a good start. But I would be a lot more comfortable getting in this once it breaks out. Let's take a look at 82, 856. Okay. Generally heading up, but yeah, so I would prefer to wait until this gets out of this downtrend. I will add an alert on it, and we can check it again once it crosses and starts breaking out. Message. All right, so yeah, that's it on NOMD. Next, we've got SPT. So I talked about this one previously at the beginning of this live stream, and I also talked about SPT earlier in the day. This is one of our bigger winners from the long-term portfolio. I believe this is one of my first buys. No, it wasn't one of my first buys. I think I bought on the 17th. No, so it would have been the following Monday that I bought. '24th. Yeah, so bought on the 24th. We're up 15%. I think this one's starting to break out. It is above these local highs right here. It'll be even better once it gets through this area, but I think everything about SPT looks healthy. It looks like it's probably breaking out now on the OBV. Yeah, it's breaking out on the OBV. Not only did it break out diagonally, but it broke out horizontally, and it retested the support line that it flipped. And yeah, I like SPT a lot. They are a social media marketing company. They help people market on social media. They use AI to analyze all that data, and I think social media is going to become a very powerful tool to advertise. I think it already is, and I think we're going to start seeing a lot more companies use social media as their primary way to advertise. I mean, I heard the other day about Chili's. They had a huge marketing budget, and then they decided to try something different with their marketing. They talked to a few social media influencers. They paid them, pennies on the dollar compared to what they have in their marketing budget and what they would normally pay. They had this person go in, try their sampler appetizer, and they just post about their experience at Chili's. It went viral. People started flocking back to Chili's, and it completely turned their business around. Um, and I believe since then, Chili's has completely cut back on their marketing spend and they're focusing on social media marketing. So I think Sprout Social is going to benefit very well from that. The other one that I think will benefit well from that is going to be Zeta, which was in my long term portfolio on Monday. So you know, I think right here is a good area to get in. Um, your stop loss, you could probably just go one entry. Your stop loss would be these lows down here. And then yeah, we're just going our way up. I probably won't be taking profit at these levels just because I have this in my long-term portfolio and I'm planning on holding this long term. But if you're looking to short-term trade, these are the levels you're going to be looking at. So it's got a lot to work through on the way up. Um, so it won't go up overnight in one day, but I think there's a lot of good going on at Sprout Social. They also, I mean, I mentioned on live stream the other day, they have grown their revenue every single quarter since they IPO'd. And way back here, their earnings were 28 million back in February of 2020. And now they're at 115 million. So they have more than quadrupled their revenue. So, and you're paying for basically the same price. So, I think SPT is a great buy down here, especially for a long term hold. But I think there's definitely going to be some upside to take this thing short term. So next we got VNet, which is VNet Group. So this one had a double top, came back down, and now it's broken out. OBV is trending up. It looks like it broke a support level, retested it. Now it's back above it. So this is looking good for a long. So I do like this. I think your entry is going to be here. You can get a second entry at 858, and then your lows are going to be your exit 806. You can make that $8, just to give you a little bit more breathing room. And then above, so we've got the highs right here is an area to take profit at 1180. And then your next area will be up here. And then, we're making our way to all-time highs. But yeah, these are all the areas to look out for above. And then, yeah, I think it looks good. I think VNet looks really good. If I remember correctly, I think this is like a Chinese AI infrastructure. Let me take a look and just double check that. All right, what is VNet? Yeah, so Alibaba is one of their customers. And so they are a data center AI infrastructure company. And Alibaba is one of their companies. So yeah, they're located in China. So yeah, I think this is got some good potential in the short term. So definitely one to keep an eye on. I'm going to add it to my watch list, and I'll give you guys updates as it progresses. So all right. So the next one is KDK, Kodiak AI. Oh, right. What are we looking at? Okay. So we do have pretty obvious downtrend right here. Not quite breaking out yet. OBV looks like it's breaking out on the OBV. All right. What does this company do? 770K missed earnings by a long shot. Let's see, KDK. All right, they're building an AI truck driver, and they went public via SPAC. So, yeah, autonomous trucking. All right. Yeah, that's interesting. Probably something worth keeping an eye on in the long run. It's just too early in this thing's life, and revenues aren't there to actually want to invest in it. So, um, I don't think there's anything here for me that I would want to buy. So let's go to the next one, SG. So Sweet Green. All right, so Sweet Green isn't looking horrible. We got a gap to fill right here, right at the top. So 1280 for the gap fill. And then over here, we've got, it's basically just in this downtrend right here. And it's right at a point where it's trying to break out. So I would wait for the breakout on this. The OBV, get a nice bounce off the bottom over here. Like for it to keep some of that momentum going. And it looks like it is trying to break out from that downtrend. So, I think there's probably enough that you could take an entry on a break here. So I will add Sweet Green to my watch list. And then, your second entry would be right here. If you wanted to add a third entry, you could put it right there. And then your stop loss would be below these lows. So we're looking at potentially three entries. Entry on the break, entry at 639, entry at 575, and then your exit at 514. For resistance above, we've got 1015. We've got the top of the gap at 1266, and then the other areas are 1670, 2118, 2685. Then we've got 3490, 3945, and then is that all-time high? No, it is not all-time high. Almost all-time high. So right there. Yeah, so Sweet Green, decent setup. And even if it gets to all-time highs, I mean, so even if Sweet Green gets to, it fills the gap, we're looking at 80% gains if it fills that gap. So, I think Sweet Green looks good in the short term, especially once we get this break. The lows You know, entry, and stop loss. So sweet green looks good. I'm gonna add that to my list. And then next is BBAI. So this one was on the other day. Yeah, I think right here is a good area to long. Because it came down, tested that support area right there, and now it's bouncing. And if we get a break on uh, the OBV right here, I think that would be really good. So yeah, definitely one to keep an eye on for tomorrow. Your entries would basically be here. You could get another one. If you wanted to be a little bit more aggressive with your ads, you could add another one at 579, and then your stop loss would be 540. So I think BBAI looks good. Yeah, and look at this. I think we've got it's coming now. Yeah, so BBAI, I will add this to my watch list, and I will keep you guys updated. The next one we've got Weave Communications. All right, so this is another one. It is starting to break out. The OBV may also be breaking out. Yeah, look at that. OBV is breaking out, so I like that a lot. Off of some good volume too. I mean, we basically since November 19th, we've seen it go up in OBV by almost double. So that's pretty solid, especially off those lows. So we might see like a little bit of an inverse head and shoulders start to form here. It looks like that's what it wants to do. So maybe it comes up to here or something, comes down, and then it goes. So I think Weave looks good. OVV is solid. So let's check the levels above. We got it right there. Got up here. Another level right there. Another level there. And there's your all-time high. So 2255 is all-time high on this thing. And I think this thing's looking ripe. I mean, let's just go through 5239, 54, 55, 58, 61. How far back does this game go on its 30, 31, 33, 34, 36, 37, 39, 41, 43, 45, 47, 50, 52, 54, 55, 58, 61. So this is another one of those companies that's, you're down. How far down are we? Let's see. So we're down 71% from its IPO price. And it has grown revenues by double. It's doubled its revenues since, the end of 2021. And you're paying at a 70% discount. So these are the kind of opportunities that I kind of earmark, and I do a little bit more research into them, see what they've got cooking behind the books. But I mean, to me, there's no reason why this thing, if it keeps going at the pace, you won't see all-time highs at 2260, and you're up 233% from here. So this is definitely, I'm going to dig into this one heavily. But yeah, this one is looking good. I think it looks good for a short term, and if you're watching this, keep an eye out for this to be on my long-term portfolio in a couple weeks potentially. I have to do more research first, but that's a promising start. I like stocks that are down 70% and have grown their revenue by double. So, yeah, keep an eye on Weave for sure. Next, we've got GTN, Gray Media. All right, chart's interesting. Definitely doesn't look horrible. There's the lows. There's support. I mean, look at this. It came all the way down, and now we're starting to see a nice rounded bottom form. So that's another thing I like to look at. Let's check it on the weekly. Yeah, this thing looks like, yeah, the weekly looks even better than the daily, in my opinion. It came down, broke the 50 EMA on the daily after testing it a few times, came back down, and now it's riding right along it. That's something I always like to see. Tells me that it's areas that are supposed to be acting as support or acting as support, and it might be on the verge of turning around. So that looks good. So we'll go back to the day. We'll take a look more and see if this thing is in fact breaking out. And look at that, it is breaking out. So now let's just take a look at the OBV. We've got a nice uptrend right here on the OBV. It's been holding it as support. The highs, I mean, I'd really love for this level to be broken next. And then, yeah, definitely keep an eye on this one. So your entries are going to be right here on this break, the lows right here, and then your stop loss, depending on what comes first, will either be this right here or these lows right there. Then your take profit, 490s, we're looking at here. I'm going to make this a box because this is kind of more of a box situation just because there's a lot going on. You've got a nice area of support, a nice area clearly defined at the top, and then a whole bunch of chop in the middle. That's where I typically like to put boxes versus support and resistance lines. And then, we just got a lot of support and resistance to get through on this thing. Once you clear 740, they start to become a little bit more spread out. So that's not as bad once you get up there. Yeah, I think GTN doesn't look horrible for a short-term trade. So yeah, keep an eye on it. I'd probably try to get in at 5, and if you get out at, even if you get out right here, you're up almost 50%. So that's a good trade any day of the week. I guess you're up 25%, but still, I mean, that's not bad at all. So GTN doesn't look horrible. I'll do a little bit more research to see if it is something I'd want to actually long. So, yeah, GTN. Next stock is LRMR, Larimar Therapeutics. All right, we got another biotech. This one looks like it's breaking out. All right, so let's draw our areas of support and resistance real quick. Yeah, so it is breaking out. It's breaking above the 50 SMA. It's also breaking above the 200-day EMA. The OBV, we did get a breakout on, and we got a nice little bit of a rounded bottom, and now we're in an uptrend on the OBV. So I think that looks good. I think Larimar's got a nice setup. We've got a gap to fill at $6. So from here to that gap is a 50% gain. Biotech's been hot lately, so I think there is potential for it to get there. Other areas of resistance, you got a bunch right here. You got another area right up here. If you got more right here. And then, yeah, there's another gap right here. Yeah, there's all sorts of, there's resistance all over the place on this thing. So I probably wouldn't take a long-term trade on it just because of how much resistance is above it. But OBV looks good. It's breaking out of resistance. Support, you know, you could get an entry here, another entry at 371, and then you're going to want to put a stop loss at the lows at 314. So that's a trade. I think 601 it could probably get, which would get you almost a 40% gain. Looks like they've got a drug. Net losses have widened. Yeah, I would do a little bit more research on this, see if they've actually got a drug in the pipeline, and see if the odds of it getting approved are pretty likely. I am in a few biotech just because I think that they're pretty high odds of getting their approval. So, Larimar, yeah, do a little bit of research, see if there's anything you like. Next one is BLND. So this was on a stream the other day. This one would have been on the 4th of last week. So, I talked about getting your entry right here, then it dropping below 305 as an area to add, and then your stop loss at 283. So even right now, we didn't quite get that second entry, but from here, we're up a little bit. Had a nice day today, up 3%. 361, 449, 533 are the areas above, as well as 704, 1015. Looks like I didn't chart any higher than that. But I think chart looks good. OBV's breaking out. So yeah, I like the blend setup. So next we've got DNN, Denison Mines. This one was also on our radar the other day. This one was breaking out. Said get an entry there, and then you can get your second entry at 247. Hasn't quite come down there yet. And then 225 is where your stop loss is going to be. I'm bullish on uranium, which is what Denison Mines is. They are holding support right here. So that's good. But yeah, I like Denison Mines. If you're not in it right now, I would probably just wait until we either get down to here or we get a breakout to get your entry at this point. But there's also nothing wrong with being in it right now if you're in it. Probably going to be a little bit of a longer hold if you're already in it, but we might see this popping out tomorrow. So we'll see what happens after the Fed meeting for Denison. And then next we've got CRON, Kronos Group Inc. Yeah, nothing actionable on this one for me. So we will go to the next one, MBot Microbot Medical. So this one, it's like we talked about this one the other day. I would wait for it to get above this 50 SMA. Looks like it is right now. I would almost wait until the end of the day tomorrow to see if it actually closes above it again. And if we do get that close, then I would take that long, potentially. As long as the OBV still looks nice. OBV is okay. Yeah, it did break out. Let's take a look. It is falling below this support right here, so just keep an eye on that. It looks like it's retesting it right now, so I would almost wait at this point for a break of this OBV, this resistance line, and if we get that break at the resistance line, then I would take the long. So until then, I wouldn't touch it because there's too much downside with that OBV right there. Next, we've got VGZ, Vista Gold Corp. I mean, I'm bullish on gold. So, all right. So, yeah. this one must have been on a stream the other day. Would have been on my first stream, which I actually posted to YouTube. Um, so this one, came down, and I said I would get in on an entry off of 183. We got that first entry, which is also, just about that support line. So I think even here is probably a good place to long, and then you can take it to 246, and yeah, so and you're off to the races after that. But I think the setup is there. OBV doesn't look horrible. Looks like the OBV does need to make a little bit more progress, actually. So I would almost wait for the breakout of this downtrend right here to get in. But yeah, I think it's a fine one to keep an eye on. VGZs, so it's gold, and I think we're going to be bullish on gold for a while. Interest rates coming down is going to be very good for assets and metals, so I think VGZ's going to do good in the long run. All right, so I've only got a couple more stocks. If there's any stocks that I missed and you want me to run through, drop a comment and I will run through them later. So next we've got Palisades Bio. Yeah, nothing really on this one to run through, so we'll go to the next one. We got PDS Biotechnology Corporation. All right, we got any news? Announces new patent for PDS 0101 in Japan. Announces FDA Type C meeting for trial amendment. All right, so yeah, they got an approval in Japan, and that's huge. Any approval is gonna be great, and we got a nice little gap up off of it. The OBV, it's been in an uptrend. It looks like it's starting to break out. Basically, at this point, I'd wait for the breakout there on the OBV, right around 184.7 million is the OBV I'd want it to break. Otherwise, you could long this if it closes this gap right here at 91 cents. I think that would be a phenomenal entry if it comes back down. You could also look at maybe we don't get 91 cents, but we get 98 cents. So 98 cents wouldn't be horrible either. And then, just take your profit on the way up. So yeah, I think not horrible. It's got a gap to fill right here. I always love seeing gaps up higher. Just because I feel like stocks always want to fill those gaps regardless. Just because it creates an imbalance on the trading log. It basically just means you've got all these orders that just never filled. So it just feels like they always want to go back and get them. But yeah, not a horrible setup. I'd wait for the break on the OBV. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't take this trade. So, all right. So that's everything. Is there if there's any comments or any stocks you want me to go through personally, drop a comment and I'm more than happy to go through them. But if not, I will I'll catch you guys tomorrow. Should be able to do tomorrow, but I will know more later in the day if I can or can't. So tomorrow's up in the air whether I will be able to do this live stream tomorrow. I definitely will not be able to do this live stream on Thursday. Friday's live stream I might be able to do over the weekend, just getting it towards the end of the year. Lots going on for celebrations. So, yeah, if there's any stocks you want me to go through on my next stream, drop a comment and I will make sure I cover them on my next stream. Until then, thank you guys for attending, and I will catch you next time.